So, dann darf ich Sie von meiner Seite.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you all most warmly. I hope I can keep you awake because ITB is a very strenuous trade fair and conference, and it's very noisy, and you're probably very tired. And now I would like to give you information which I consider extremely exciting, and I hope I can get that message and philosophy across today. So, what can you do with big data and advanced analytics in the tourism industry? Now, this is what I'd like to present. I do not want to bore you with a lengthy introduction of our company. If you like my presentation, I think Mr. Wolf gave such an interesting talk, then you can simply contact me personally. So then, of course, I also give you all the information about our company. I would then like to focus on what big data and advanced analytics mean. I do not want to go into all the technical details, but I'll try to give you some examples, because I think examples are important because they can convey messages, and this is what I want to do. I will give you examples, for example, how you can make a booking. I give you an example of planning your trip. I have a somewhat visionary example, how to cancel a trip, and tourism infrastructure, a tourism education path will be presented. And then I give you some examples of what we do in projects if companies are interested. Okay, now briefly about us. We came from big data and BI. I don't know how much knowledge you have in this field, but we are classic services providers, and we come into play if companies want an evaluation. They have a data warehouse idea, they want to carry out analysis, and we're not talking about Excel analysis, but rather professional analysis. Here we come in, and whenever people want to deal with real-time scenarios in big data and machine learning, that is, I don't program my machine, but my machine learns and needs inputs in form of videos, text files, or CSV files, and turns that into something useful. So that is basically the message without going into further detail. And here are some company logos of our customers. So we have a very broad scope of customers, not only in the tourism industry, but in industry in general, in manufacturing and in trade. So we have a very broad scope and a very broad customer base. Now, I would like to talk a little bit about the technology. Please don't feel overwhelmed by all the technical information, but I have to give you some idea of what this presentation is about. In your company, you typically have booking and reservation, CRM systems, human resource, financial accounting, and investment accounting systems. This is the old data world that has been around for about 50 years. You know these systems, and most of these solutions produce some good or, well, useful evaluation. But what is more important is the new world: social media data, web tracking data, and the Internet of Things, that is cars, mobile phone sensors, RFID chips, whatever is around and gathers data. And these two worlds should be connected, and this is what we do. Now, what is big data about? I have two terms here I would like to explain: big data and advanced analytics. 5 years ago, if people had asked me what does big data mean, would have told them lots of data. And the second thing I knew was they were not structured. That is, not data in a database, but data, for example, like hotel ratings in regular text, and what can you do with that? So we're talking about unstructured data. But about 2 weeks ago, I was with one of my customers, Steigenberger, and for them, ratings are the most important things. And if customers write bad ratings about this hotel, they will no longer be booked by the booking engines, whatever, HRS or Booking.com. Now, if data is too unstructured, too complex, too short-lived, or too large, then it has to be structured. Now, we don't only talk about big data, but also about advanced analytics, and I want to give you an example what that means. Everyone knows from press articles what the Tesla model is. And a Tesla car was involved in an accident with a truck. What happened in this situation? There was autonomous driving, and autonomous driving has to be programmed. Now, if you think of a human programmer, he can no longer consider all the situations that are possible in traffic. But with machine learning, you show what the situation was. You give data information that it was a white truck and the autonomous driving car didn't recognize it as such, and persons died. This was tragic. But machine learning helps you avoid that in the future. A machine learning involves hundreds and thousands of videos that were fed into the machine, and this input was then turned into learning conclusions. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but with machine learning, the situation of the accident wouldn't have happened. So machine learning and advanced analytics is our key to success, because programmers, human programmers, cannot work as fast as a machine can learn today. 10 years ago, we had the chess computer, and if all the chess games that were ever played are fed into the computer, the machine will be so intelligent that not even a world champion could win against them. And this is the message. What you can do with that is you can make conclusions regarding customer behavior. You can recognize patterns in customer behavior. You can score a customer, valuable customers, less valuable customers. And to give you another example, if you analyze something today with 50 influencing factors, you cannot simply analyze it with an Excel sheet. You need parametrical analyses that independently produce clusters and knowledge. Another example that you might already know, what happens if I put the six-pack of beer next to diapers? How does customer behavior change? The classic situation, a woman sends her husband to buy diapers, and if the six-pack is next to the diapers, he also buys beer. So and advanced analytics works in a similar fashion, and it's very important for sorting out data. Now, this is the timeline from traditional business intelligence and traditional analysis. We go to advanced analytics. Traditionally, we retrospectively analyze situation that happened, sales revenue, number of bookings coming in. It became more difficult when diagnostics or diagnoses were involved. What actually happened? The OLAP analysis, the data cubes with drill downs and other analysis, or Excel table analysis in order to find out the causes and the situation. But now it becomes more interesting in this block, and I will give you some examples later on. What will happen? I make a forecast of what will happen. Just think of the tourism industry. Think about Turkey. What happens after the presidential elections in Turkey? Who can actually predict that? We can now forecast that there will be another 30% drop of bookings in Turkey, but who can actually describe in specific terms what will happen? A system can do that much more intelligently than people. It becomes even more exciting when it's about influencing the situation. What do I do so it will actually happen? Actively influencing situations. So this customer at Starbucks will get a text message on his or her mobile. You get 10% on the next cappuccino. And they feel like a cappuccino, so they walk right in. My kids would say, okay, yeah, nothing special. But what happens? Starbucks locates you with your mobile. You're in front of Starbucks. If you walk 20 yards further, you will not get a text message. But you will get the message if you're in front of the shop. So the customer has to be actively located and has to receive the offer just in time. And this is really exciting. You might know it from the internet. You buy something at Amazon, and Amazon gives you the message other customers also bought this. And this is a similar system. Now, what would I like to show you now regarding application cases? This is an overview of what's happening. What happens in the tourism industry? People no longer book package deals. They want more personalized offers. Collaborative consumption is a new trend. Consumers form groups and buy certain offers in greater quantity to get a discount, so you can complain because your price will drop, but on the other hand, your process cost will also drop. And you will probably then specialize on these types of offers.
And here are my 4 examples, all taken from real life. And then travel planning is something like a vision. It doesn't exist yet, but it will exist in the future. And it would also help me. I think the examples I've brought you are so clearly indicating that we need a change here. Here's one example. I don't know whether you know QUIXIT. And I give you an example. This morning in Backnang, south of Germany, I wanted to come to Berlin. I booked 2 weeks ago. I went to the homepage of the German railway company and bought a ticket. Then I took a plane to Berlin and I needed a taxi to come here from the airport. And tonight I need to go to the airport and then I go to Munich from here by plane, which means I have a lot of transfers. If you go to QUIXIT, this program, this software will organize the whole trip for you. They compare all the different transport modes: rail, flight, car, taxi, and even shared rides. And then it will indicate the best trip for you. And you can even set your preferred price. If you want to go to Berlin for just 27 euros, there are certain options for you. Or perhaps you just don't care about how much it costs, and then they might suggest you take the Concorde. So this is a great system. The underlying data comes from different sources, for example, from the transport operators. As I said, you can travel as you like. You can walk, you can travel by bus, train, plane, and so on. And then all the different big data modules are combined. This program looks at all the different data sources, scans them all in real time, and will tell you within seconds what is the ideal trip for you. I think the benefits are obvious for anybody who travels a lot. You will save a lot of time scanning through data, scanning through information, and it will really simplify my journey. And then, perhaps, in the future, I'll also be able to cover some of the trips by car sharing, which means there will be more transport modes. And here at the bottom, I would also have that vision that when I buy my ticket, there is some type of holistic system, meaning I just have to buy one ticket that covers the entire trip. And whenever people check me on the way, they just have to tick a box or whatever. But I just have one ticket. This takes me to my vision, let's say. Whenever I travel, there are 1,000 different options that I could use. This morning, I looked at Papua New Guinea and things like that. Now, let's say I want to book a trip for 4 weeks. Then I might spend several months in order to book a trip and in order to make a selection from all the things that are on offer. Of course, I can go for an all-inclusive package, but as soon as I want different entertainment types, for example, like theater, cinema, and so on, it would be ideal for me if there was such a program or software like QuickSit that would combine it all for me. And I would just have to enter, I would like to take 3 hiking trips, I want to do this or that. And then the system scans all the different offerings, Yelp and so on. It also takes into account recommendations for restaurants and others. And then perhaps I go to TripAdvisor and look for a couple of tourist highlights in a number of cities. I also follow the recommendations for highlights. There might be Alcatraz, for example. And these were just the standards. What that software would also do, they would scan the America Forum, would read through these millions of sources and extract a perfect itinerary for me. Imagine there were to be such a system. I think it would be a major simplification and something all of us dream of. And then let's say the system proposes 7 different types of trips to me. It would save me an awful lot of time and effort. Of course, it's not always good for the machine to do all the work for you, but the question is, what are the benefits and what is it that the machine can do better than I? Okay, I don't think I have to explain all of this in depth. Again, these are just examples how such a trip could be compiled. And again, the idea is that I can save a lot of money, a lot of nerves, and I end up with a better trip. And on top of that, a trip that is within my budget.
Anderes Beispiel, es ist mir selber passiert.
And here's another example, different topic. Last year, I traveled to a southern region in Germany, and I had looked for a hotel. And what happened is, all of a sudden, I get a telephone call, and a lady tells me, "You have booked a double room, but just for one person. Is that correct?" And I said, "No, this is not correct. I might have been on your website, but I never made a booking." Then the lady on the phone said, "Okay, it's our hotel, but unfortunately I cannot cancel it. So please write an email to booking.com so that they tell us to cancel it." And that's what I did. I had to write an email to booking.de and send them my cancellation request. Now look at the time code, and then you see what happens. Booking.com, within 2 minutes, sends me a cancellation. And it's a lovely letter, very friendly, and Booking.com tells me your trip has been cancelled. Now you might think, how is that possible? Are there just hundreds of people waiting for my request for cancellation? And do then these people type their cancellation letters? Of course, it's not like that. Booking.com handles hundreds of different languages, and so you can imagine that it's all automated. Based on machine learning, the system generates an automatic reply. And this, of course, helps Booking handle its requests. Let's assume they have 1 million bookings per year. Then they have a 5% or 1% cancellation quota. Every cancellation would cost them 5 minutes. and the hourly costs are 10 euros, then you also see how much money can be saved. In this case, 85 million per year. And here's another topic I wanted to address. In Germany, and I think also in other countries, there are a lot of tourist trails. They are normally big signs, nice pictures. And to me, I would like to think that there could be digital signs, interactive signs. And here I just try to figure out what they could look like. So as I said, let's say there is a tourist trail and there is some information and education on how bread is being made. Then one thing you can do, and this goes back to Starbucks, you could imagine that somebody looks at such a sign, and if you read such a sign, you can scan a QR code and then you get a discount on bread or coffee somewhere. You see the QR code here? You could also use that QR code to show videos, for example, that give you more information on what this whole trail is all about. And I actually wanted to show you a video right now.
Hörst du den Bäcker rufen? Wer will gutes Brot uns machen? Der muss haben 7 Sachen. Herz und Hand, Fleiß und Verstand, Spaß und Stolz und ein gutes Nudelholz. Backe, backe, Zukunft, sei Bäcker aus Berufung. Wer will lecker Arbeit machen, der muss haben 7 Sachen. Herz und Hand, Fleiß und Verstand, Spaß und Stolz und ein gutes Nudelholz. Herz und Hand, Fleiß und Verstand, Spaß und Stolz und ein gutes Nudelholz. Backe, backe, Frische, bring Glück auf alle Tische. Willst du dich zum Helden machen, musst du haben 7 Sachen. Herz und Hand, Fleiß und Verstand, Spaß und Stolz und ein gutes Nudelholz. Herz und Hand, Fleiß und Verstand, Spaß und Stolz und ein gutes Nudelholz. Die Nacht ist schwarz, der Morgen rot. Geh und back dem Land das Brot.
Okay, so, war ein bisschen lang.
Okay, sorry, it was a bit long. But the idea is that with the help of digital technology, a QR code, you can offer additional content. This is a video that was made by the Chamber of Bakers. They find it hard to recruit new bakers, and that's why they made this video. But in any case, it can also be used here, and it can help you bring more life to these informational offers. So I gave you a number of examples where analytics can be applied. And another example would be travel warnings. Let's say your employer sends you on a business trip. Then, of course, your employer also has a certain duty of care vis-à-vis you. And here is a new tool developed by ITESA. And it gives you real-time travel warnings. Imagine, like in 2015, there's an earthquake. There was this earthquake in Nepal. Let's say such a thing happens and you're on the way to the airport to fly to Nepal, then you can be warned in real time, and then you can decide not to go. Quite apart from the fact what this means for your travel insurance and so on. So all of these are examples that we could come up with in the travel industry. And I think these are all topics and issues that could be interesting for you. We also discussed another example today. I mean, everybody says our world is changing and keeps on changing. Many people think that digitization is something that gives rise to concerns or even fear. But we believe if we harness it in the right way, it offers up a lot of new opportunities for our industry. And I just gave you a number of examples. Much more can be done. What we have done within our company is that we collect big data and advanced analytics cases. We have set up what we call a solution library. It is structured according to a subject catalog. And here you see what the different data sources are and the companies that use this data. Sometimes people say to us, well, big data, that is something for Siemens or for SAP, the large players. And we tell them, no, it's not true. There's so many companies with 100 employees or just 50 employees that could work on this topic. And that would perhaps find new opportunities to grow. These are some examples from the tourism sector. Many, many things that could be changed and improved. So what could you do? If you have an interest in this, we'd be happy to pay you a visit at your company and we come up with a plan. We will speak to the executives and introduce them to business intelligence, business analytics, advanced analytics. And we'll really take some time to explain what all of this is about. Then we will try to establish what the overall goals of your company are, just so that we get a sense of what is possible. Many of you or many people in your company might already have their own ideas. And then what we do is we provide some of these solutions that we already have at hand. We also scan the industry, try to learn more about your competitors and also learn from them. And then as a next step, we try to find out what we need to translate this into reality and to find out which type of data you need, because otherwise it will just be wishful thinking. After all, we also need to have access to all of this data. Last week we spoke to a logistics company and they said they prefer the itinerary or route planner of Google compared to their own. And we said, yes, why not? There could be an API so that you can connect to Google's travel planner. It's not a problem. The next question is all about technology. Which technologies do you want to use? Would that be cloud-based technology? Or is it important to you to keep your data in your company? What we find important is one pivotal message. Of course, you can start working on this at very low costs, for example, just by using a cloud. And you don't even have to buy anything, you just need the right service provider. Now, to conclude, I would like to thank you for your attention, for being here. And I hope I could share with you some part of our philosophy and also some information about the opportunities that exist.